So, have you guys seen people arguing about original art versus fan art? That one is more important, that original art's better and what people should focus on, and that fan art is lazy, and that people shouldn't do that as much? Because I have definitely seen that pop up before in the past, and it's something that comes around every once in a while, so I really wanted to talk about it. I haven't seen it too much lately, but I really wanted to do a video on it. It's something that's been sitting in my mind for a while, and I really wanted to cover it. Before we get into that though, let's talk about the art. So with this, I really wanted to do another one of the Pokemon inspired trainer things, trainer illustrations, this one with Hawthorne. As I said in my concept video, Hawthorne is Thunder Element, so I had to give him an Alolan Raichu because it's soft and cute and has more rounded edges, and it was perfect for him. And also, I love Raichu. If I have an opportunity to put a Raichu in there, I am going to. It's been my favorite since I was a kid. I have a few favorite Pokemon. You've got Raichu, Bulbasaur. In regard to my favorite starter ever is Bulbasaur. And then I love Eevee and the Eeveelutions. It's been really hard not to give everybody an Eeveelution with this. But I really wanted to do an Alolan Raichu for him because he is very soft and sweet, and Thunder type that is more rounded edges and soft in appearance. I thought it was perfect. And then the Leopard I really liked for it being more of like a dark kind of cat design, because his creature for his transformation and such is actually what's called a Feldgeister. It's like a German field spirit, storm spirit kind of thing that helps out that affects farmland and stuff, and his takes the shape of a cat. So I partially did that because I wanted to be able to add in cat motifs to somebody's transformation because I could. But also just, I really liked it. It kind of stuck out to me in regard to creatures. So I wanted to go with kind of a dark cat kind of Pokemon for him for his second Pokemon. And I really like how this turned out. I think it looks really cute and I really like it. And I hope you guys like it, and I hope you guys like the rest of the illustrations as they come out. These will be eventually available for prints, but so far I have 2 out of 8. So it's not going to be necessarily soon. But now that I've done talking about that and let you guys know about that, let's get back to the video. So original art versus fan art. Again, this is something that has been a big debate topic in the community since I was literally in middle school on DeviantArt, back around the time that DeviantArt first became a thing. So it's been a very long-running discourse because it popped up pretty quick. And I didn't really engage with it. I have never been the type to engage with discourse, like popping up at arguing with people. I don't really do that. That's not really my thing. It's frustrating, it's a pain, and I've seen it pop up from time to time, and I have always had my own thoughts on it, but I've never really shared them. And here's my hot take on the whole thing. Neither one is better than the other, and fan art is not cheating to build an audience. I need to make that clear because that's usually why the arguments pop up. You get people who want to devalue fan art because, oh, it's cheating. Oh, it's just an easy way for people to get followers and likes and all of that to get eyes on their work. And on the one hand, does it make you more findable, more discoverable, and make it a little bit easier to build a following? Yeah, especially if you're doing like modern, very trendy kind of fandoms. That's just going to be the case. Fan content is always going to draw more eyes more quickly just because people are already searching for that kind of thing, and it's going to pop up and people will sort through it because they're already passionate about the characters and the designs and the world, so people want to see what other people's takes are on it. So there is a point to be made that it does make things a bit faster. Now, on the other hand, a lot of times if you're just doing fan art of something you yourself are not passionate about, a lot of times fans can tell, and they're not going to follow you as much because they can tell, oh, you're just doing it for the views, your stuff doesn't really have heart in it, so it's not very interesting. because it doesn't show that interest. It doesn't show that passion behind it. And it ends in, honestly, if you don't have passion for it, it kind of ends in a bit of lackluster art that doesn't draw as much attention. So while in some ways, yes, it does kind of boost your momentum for taking off a bit if you're doing things that you are passionate about, especially if you happen to be passionate about things that are a bit more mainstream, then of course it's going to increase your traffic and your discoverability. But that doesn't make fan art necessarily cheating, and it doesn't make it better or less than original art. Just because something's more discoverable doesn't mean that original art isn't, because you'll get some people who very adamantly search for maybe anime fairies, mermaids, things like that, as intensely as other people do for fandom stuff. And you will get eyes on you, it's just going to be a bit more of a slow grow, but people will find your stuff, and they're going to probably share it with other people they know who would like the same thing. Again, it doesn't make one better than the other, and just because one grows faster doesn't make it cheating. But there's also the fact that both of them have their place. Of course, original art is going to be important. That's how you get your own ideas out there. That's how you get your own characters and stories created in some kind of tangible form that you really and genuinely enjoy, and that's really fun, and people will find it and enjoy it. I've seen people on YouTube who talk about their original things, and I want to see more, and I want to experience more of it and see more of this world because it's just interesting. And I found their videos mostly through random design videos or random little challenge videos or story times. Great example, Ginger Ninja OWO. Another one is Lavender Town. I found both of them through like tutorials, story times, stuff like that, and I just love it. And then they introduced some of their original stuff like Prism, and then you've got Lavender Town's little comic Unfamiliar. I love that one. I actually have the printed copy of Unfamiliar because I just love it so much. It's just so cute. And I can't wait to see more Prism stuff from Ginger Ninja. And I just think that that kind of thing shows that you can grow with original content. So, and obviously, we all know why it has its place. But then we come to fan art and its place in things. Because people act like because it's cheating, it's the easy way, that it really has no place. And that's just not true. Especially for beginner artists, but even for advanced artists. It really is important. And it has a very important place. Fan art is how a lot of artists got started with their creativity and their artistic skills in the first place. I know one of my first things was coming up with a little Batman sidekick character, and I would draw her like crazy. I would take episodes of Batman the Animated Series and completely recreate them in comic form, at least with the environments and the scenes. I avoided drawing any established characters because I did not have the confidence to do it correctly. So it enabled me to start creating, and it let me just make things and get started trying to create characters because I wanted to come up with fan characters and my own little character that would be in the world. And not only that, the best way to think of it, from what I can say, is to think of it like a sandbox. When you've got fan art, you've got a sandbox that's already made, you can get into it, you've got the borders of the sandbox, and you can create whatever that fits within those borders, within those parameters. It's already filled with sand, it's already built, and you can just get in there and play. You can play with the characters, you can play with the environment, you can make your own little character and stick it in there. It's like when you add more sand to the sandbox, you give yourself more stuff to play with within it. And that's important, which is why a lot of beginner artists go for the sandbox. Because it's a world that they can play in. It's a world that they can mess with. It's characters that they can put in an AU and play around with doing something different with them. They can play with storytelling. Then you get original art, which is its own kind of sandbox. But unlike the fan art sandbox, it's not pre-built. You've got to get in there and build it yourself. You've got to get the sand, you've got to get the materials, and you've got to build it yourself, and a lot of times there's not even any instructions. And that can be a bit daunting, which is why so many people start with the pre-made sandbox. That's why so many people start with fan art, and eventually they'll move into original art because maybe they want a bigger sandbox, maybe they want a different kind of sand, maybe they want it to be a different shape so that the borders are different and the parameters are different. But that doesn't make the original one better. It makes it more you. It makes it more suited to you and your tastes. But that doesn't make those who prefer the pre-made sandbox lesser. It doesn't make them inferior. Just like you having a custom sandbox doesn't make you better. It's something that I think is really important to acknowledge, that these things don't have to be an either or. You could be someone who enjoys doing both. I like making fan characters, and I love playing with my original concepts. I absolutely love playing with making characters for MHA, My Hero Academia, as well as for Dragon Ball, and Bungo Stray Dogs, and Jujutsu Kaisen, and all of those. I love making characters for those. But I also have my original story concepts like Trace, and Archives, and Necrotic, and Chronicles, that I just want to play with for me, because those are for me. It's like my own little private sandbox. And sometimes I open it up to share. But those are things that I do for myself, and I still post things along with the fan art. I mean, most of my characters are either fan characters or my original characters for my own projects, just because I much more enjoy creating my own characters than straight up making fan art of established characters. Sometimes I will, but I enjoy working with my own characters more. But if I hadn't started with fan art and making fan characters for things, I wouldn't have really gotten into the point of building my own world and my own characters from scratch. It's something that I think that people argue about without putting the proper thought into it. But what do you guys think? Do you guys agree? Do you guys disagree? I want to see where everybody stands on it. As always, be civil in the comments. I'm not going to deal with anybody arguing, because that's not the environment that I want to create here. We're not going to argue, we're going to be civil. You can disagree and still be civil. And that's just what I want to say. And that's about all that I have talking about original art and fan art and people pitting them against each other. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me hear your takes on it down below. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. And, well, let me know if there's any other topics you want me to cover. Any other discourse that pops up sometimes that maybe you want to hear my take on, or some insight maybe. But that's about all I have. And a big thank you to my patrons, Inside Chaos, Salmon, and Creativa Artly. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!